I remember thinking that if I stayed quiet long enough, everything would eventually settle on its own. That's what I told myself every morning when I woke up with that tight feeling in my chest. That if I just kept my head down, avoided eye contact, laughed at the right moments, and didn't give anyone a reason to look too closely, I could get through it. People only see what you show them. That was the rule I lived by, and for a while it worked. At school I was just another guy, not popular, not invisible, somewhere in between. I showed up, turned in my work, sat with my friend Ethan at lunch. We talked about games, about classes, about nothing that mattered. He never asked questions, and I never gave him a reason to. After school, I'd sometimes go to his house. His place felt different, warmer. His mom always had something cooking. The TV was always on in the background, and there was this sense that life was normal there. And then there was her, Ethan's older sister, Claire. She was a few years older than us, maybe 21 or 22. She had this way of walking into a room that made everything feel sharper, like the air shifted around her. Not because she was loud or dramatic. It was the opposite. She noticed things, small things, the kind most people missed. The first time I met her, she smiled at me like she already knew something about me I hadn't said out loud. I didn't like that, so I avoided her. If she came into the kitchen, I found a reason to leave. If she sat in the living room, I pretended I had somewhere else to be. It wasn't obvious, at least I hoped it wasn't, but I stayed out of her way, because people who notice things are dangerous when you're hiding something. And I was hiding a lot. It started a few months before. Small at first, a bad grade that turned into more bad grades, a missed assignment that turned into a habit, then the calls from school, the emails, the warnings. At home, things were already fragile. My dad worked late and came home tired, carrying a kind of anger that didn't always have a clear direction. My mom tried to keep things together, but she was stretched thin, always balancing too much. I told myself I'd fix it before anyone found out, but I didn't. Instead, I let it pile up. I stopped opening emails. I ignored the messages. Every day it got heavier, pressing down on me in ways I couldn't explain. Sleep got harder. Breathing felt different, like something was always sitting just behind my ribs. And then one afternoon, everything almost cracked. I was at Ethan's house again. We had been playing video games for hours, the kind of mindless distraction I needed. For a while, I forgot about everything else. But eventually, he got a call and stepped outside to take it. I stayed in the living room, controller still in my hand, staring at the paused screen. The silence crept in slowly, filling the space he left behind. That's when I felt it again. That tightness. Stronger this time. My chest felt like it was closing in, like the walls were inching closer without actually moving. My hands started to shake. I set the controller down, trying to breathe normally, but it wasn't working. Inhale, exhale. Too fast. Too shallow. I stood up quickly, thinking maybe I just needed air. I moved toward the hallway, my vision slightly blurred at the edges. "Hey!" Her voice stopped me. I froze. Claire was standing at the end of the hallway, leaning lightly against the wall, arms crossed. I hadn't even heard her come in. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just gonna head out." I tried to walk past her. That's when she grabbed my arm. Not aggressively, not enough to hurt, but firm, certain. It stopped me completely. "Stop hiding," she said quietly. "I know something's wrong." For a second, I couldn't breathe at all. My first instinct was to pull away, to laugh it off, to say something casual like I always did. But the words didn't come. They got stuck somewhere between my chest and my throat. "I'm fine," I managed. She didn't let go. "No, you're not." Her voice wasn't accusing. It wasn't harsh. It was steady, certain in a way that made it impossible to brush off. I avoided her eyes, staring at the floor instead. "You don't know anything." "I know you've been avoiding me," she said. "I know you barely talk when you're here. I know that look on your face right now isn't fine." Her grip softened slightly, but she didn't release me, and I know what it looks like when someone's carrying more than they can handle. Something in my chest shifted at that. I shook my head. "It's nothing. Just school stuff." "Then why do you look like you can't breathe?" That hit harder than anything else she said. Because it was true, and somehow she saw it. I tried to pull my arm free again, weaker this time. "I just need to go." "No," she said gently. "You need to stop running for 5 minutes." There was a pause. The house felt too quiet, too still. I realized my hands were still shaking. She noticed too. "Hey," she said softly, stepping a little closer. "Look at me." I didn't want to, but I did. And the second I met her eyes, something broke. It wasn't dramatic. No sudden collapse, no loud sob, just a quiet crack somewhere deep inside me, the kind that had been forming for weeks. "I messed up," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't interrupt. "I thought I could fix it," I continued. "I thought if I just waited or worked harder or something, it would go away." "What did you mess up?" she asked. "School, everything. I'm failing 2 classes. Maybe 3. They've been calling my parents, emailing. I haven't told them. I just keep deleting the messages." Saying it out loud made it feel more real, heavier. "I don't know how to fix it anymore," I admitted. My throat tightened. "And if my dad finds out?" I didn't finish the sentence. I didn't have to. She understood. Claire let go of my arm, but only to place her hand gently on my shoulder. "Okay," she said. "So you're overwhelmed. You're scared. That makes sense." I shook my head. "No, it doesn't. I should have handled it. I just made it worse." "Yeah," she said simply. "You did." I blinked, surprised. "But that doesn't mean it's over," she added. I let out a shaky breath. "It feels like it is." "That's because you've been dealing with it alone," she said. "Everything feels bigger when you don't say it out loud." I looked at her, unsure. "You think telling my parents is going to make it better?" I asked. "I think hiding it is making it worse," she replied. "There's a difference." Silence settled between us again, but it felt different this time, less suffocating. "What if they're disappointed?" I asked. "They will be," she said honestly. "At first." That stung. "But disappointment isn't the same as giving up on you," she continued. "And right now you're basically giving up on yourself." Her words landed slowly. "I hadn't thought of it that way. You don't have to fix everything today," she said. "You just have to take the first step." "Which is?" "Stop hiding." I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. It felt different this time. Lighter. Not because the problem was gone. It wasn't. But because it wasn't locked inside me anymore. Ethan's voice echoed faintly from outside, still on his call. The world hadn't ended. Nothing had exploded. I was still standing there. "You don't have to do it alone," Claire said. "I can sit with you while you tell them. Or help you figure out what to say." I looked at her, really looked this time, and for the first time I didn't feel exposed. I felt seen. "Why do you care?" I asked quietly. She smiled a little. "Because someone once grabbed my arm and told me the same thing." I nodded slowly, and something inside me settled. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough. "Okay," I said. It was a small word, but it felt like the beginning of something bigger. That night I told my parents. It wasn't easy. There were raised voices, long silences, and more than one moment where I wished I could disappear. But I didn't. I stayed. And when it was over, the world didn't collapse. It shifted. And somehow that was enough to start again.